Hello lovely people, welcome to our weekly reading for the week of the 5th of June. I hope you are all well. I hope you've all had a really good week, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing what the cards have to tell us this week. I know I certainly am. We've had some really interesting readings, I think, over the last few weeks, so I'm very keen to see what's in store for us this week. Let's have a look and see. Okay, so once again, I've decided to ask 3 questions. And so the first question is just regarding your current situation this week. So let's see what that is. Okay, so we have the 10 of Wands here, which this is our current situation. And the next card is, before we look at it, the next card is the action, that we need to take. So we're looking at the 2 of Wands. And the third instruction for this card is the outcome. Not really an instruction, but Ace of Wands. So we have 3 wands here. And we have, they're kind of going backwards in a way in their numbers. You've got 10, 2 and 1. So they starting with the first one, we have, this is about the current situation. Now, the 10 of Wands tends to be about being of service to others. And this service is usually, tends to be about for the success of the whole family. I say the whole family, I mean the whole organizations or communities, just for the whole, really. And this card is a reminder that it's never a waste of time to make your best effort, especially if it's going to be improving the life of other people. It's telling us to take heart, like if the burden is heavy, and because it may be a burden now, but the burden is to work towards a brighter future. So that brighter future is so this burden isn't taken on it's not taken on in a negative sense, really, or it shouldn't be. It's kind of like a willing burden, to make life better for other people. And this card has a sort of kind of what goes round comes round element to it, that if you help people that are struggling, then your turn will come at some point in your life when you will need some help, and it will be a little bit like karma, if you like. Now, when this card comes up, you could be asking yourself, are you struggling and straining with duties that you have? And is this kind of like how you express your love? Do you express your love by your actions more than, say, by your words? Because, service can be the greatest expression of love. And certainly ensuring a better future for everyone is a huge expression of love. Now, some burdens, they can be hard to carry, and unexpected things happen. That's all part of life. So there is a kind of nobility in serving, but it's really important that everybody else is doing their bit, because if it's just you doing it, well, then that can be kind of confused with codependence. So other people need to show that they are also helping, that they're willing to help, that it's a reciprocal thing. It's not just you doing everything. I can't really stress that enough. This is so important. And that's really one of the things that this card is warning against. It's saying, yes, it's really noble to be of service to others and to carry a burden, but you have to be, there has to be some kind of reciprocation going on here. That you have to be getting help from others, especially from those that you are helping. They must be able to exchange that energy with you in some way. Now, it's the other kind of thing about the 10 of Wands is if we look at the number 10, the number 10 in the tarot is about completion. So, and when we're looking at Wands, we're kind of looking at completion of a journey. And so it's like there's been a grand challenge that's just been realized. So now that could be a sale of a business, it could be a promotion, it could be leaving a long-term career, and it could be selling up and starting a new business in a different location. So it's saying, as well, that you're reaching goals, but it hasn't been smooth, and that it has been quite difficult. And Wands people, they do have a difficulty in saying no. So by the time they do reach this number 10, they're overloaded, but they will still struggle on enthusiastically. So there is a real need when this card is coming up in a reading. It's telling you that there is a need to delegate, because you're somebody that tends to micromanage. And, Wands are fiery people, and fiery people can be very dynamic workhorses. So this card is also telling you've got there, but it's time to plan, and it's time to implement new strategies so that you can free up your time. And this is where your completion, this is the completion, and we're working towards the beginning here, as you will see with these cards coming up. So, because this is actually leading us quite nicely into the Two of Wands. Now, the twos represent decisions and choices. And when we have the wands here, we've got 3 wand card suits here. So there's a lot of physical stuff going on here. It's very much about being creative. It's about action. It's about dynamics. And there is a lovely kind of flow to these 3 cards. So we're looking at here we have completion. Now, what happens after completion? When you've completed something, what happens? Well, you have decisions now to make. What are you going to do next? You have choices about the sort of action you're going to take next. So let's say here that you have you have possibly reached the end of a job, you've got your promotion, or you've sold your business or whatever. Now you have your decision about, are you going to move house? Are you going to are you going to change jobs? Are you going to go on a trip? And the Two of Wands, it's about a quick decision as well, because Wands are about, there is a speediness to Wands. Now, it's kind of, we're looking about staying, if you're staying in an environment that's familiar, but say no longer stimulating. And this sort of follows in with the completion here. Wands people love to move on. They don't want to, they're not so fantastic in that space of familiarity. They like adventure. They actually love adventure. They really thrive on adventure and risk. So, if you were staying in an environment that's familiar but no longer stimulating, that you will have a sense of restriction. And this card is telling you that it's time to move on. And this is an action card, so this is the action to take. So we're looking at, that decision, whether it's time to move on, whether you want an adventure somewhere else. And because your decision is going to be in your physical environment, and therefore it generally is about changing your home, or about changing your work circumstances. Wouldn't be really talking about relationships here, because we're very much, this is, as I say, is a physical environment. and the cups would be kind of covering that if that were the case. And but the Two of Wands, it's not the effort of changing your position, but it's the decision preceding your action. That's kind of what this card is about. And although it's about making a quick decision, there actually is no urgency while weighing up the benefits and costs of each option. And so, I mean, that sounds like a little bit of a contradiction. The urgency actually comes here with this card. But whilst you're here in this space, this is very much about weighing up the pros and cons of each option. And this card has a sort of an element of travel in it. He's holding the globe in his hand. On what to do, but you can see there's no sense of urgency. You can kind of get a sense of weariness in this card, but there's so the cards do give you a sense of what's going on. This is very much about spiritual inspiration here, but there's no sense of urgency with this card. It's just standing quite still, which is kind of unusual for Wands people to be able to do. But, he's weighing up options, what to do. And the Two of Wands can suggest that the time is right to move forward. Now, the thing that you want to be thinking about with this card is that it also represents that sort of sense that something is missing. So here he is looking out beyond his castle walls, if you like, and he's got the globe in his hand, and kind of contemplating on what to do. So there really is a kind of sense, something's missing. And what's really important about for you to understand here is that if you get that sort of if you have this idea that if you get that thing, you'll be happy. So what's missing is on the outside, but actually this card is warning you that all the achievements and all the acquisitions, they will not be what will finally make you happy. They will make you feel good for a short while, but if you don't have sort of a kind of like an authentic awareness of your true value, in the end, they'll feel hollow and you'll keep going after the next one. So what this card is saying is the lesson of this card for you is that your bliss, it must come from within, because nothing can make you happy if you're not already happy within yourself and within yourself as you are now. So, I mean, there is always room for improvement. And that's absolutely essential, that we are always striving to improve ourselves in some way. But it's about self-love. And this card is also kind of saying, stop searching on the outside and reconcile with your inner self, with your inner bliss. And when you do reconcile with that, then whatever you decide to do to go forward, then that is what will make you happy. But if you're looking only to the outside, then it will be always short-term happiness, and you'll have to go on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So look inwards to find your inner bliss. If you find your inner bliss, it will naturally follow that what's happening on the outside of you will reflect that. Now, this then brings us to the Ace of Wands. And whereas there's no urgency with this card, there is actually urgency with the Ace of Wands, because it's very much about it's about new projects. It's about initiating the first step. So you have the enthusiasm to begin new projects and to initiate these first steps. So the Ace of Wands represents urgent physical action. It is your inspiration will be spiritual. We have this hand coming out of the cloud. This is very much about spiritual inspiration, and it's a call to action. It's the physical beginning. It's an act of taking a concrete step towards a spiritual inspiration to make it physical. Now this card can also indicate travel and movement, a new job, a home, or it can just be about pushing plans forward. So you can, in all of these cards, actually, we're looking at travel. We're looking at we're looking definitely at new things. The completion of the old, decision what to do in the future, the inspiration follows, and it's saying, go for it. When this card comes up, go for it. And it's very much about, breakthroughs and kind of like a brilliant epiphany that will transform your reality. Do you know when you get that, like, oh my God, I know exactly what I want. It's just come to me. That kind of way. It's a very exciting period of mental growth, this card. When this card comes up, that's what it's telling you. So it's about branching out into new realms of possibilities. And the Ace of Wands motivates fresh ideas that will carry you over old obstacles. So stuff that you thought were in your way, this is what this inspiration is about with the Ace of Wands. It's giving you these new ideas about how to get over the old obstacles. So you might ask yourself here, like, do you have lots of ideas, but maybe you lack confidence? Or are you possibly hesitating on your dream because you fear failure? This hand, this divine hand, is offering you a magic wand, and it's providing you with the ability to make your dreams come true. So grasp that wand. Grasp that wand. I want to grasp that wand as I'm talking to you, and be flooded with the ideas that will bring solutions to your old problems. Now, this ruined castle here, this represents kind of like outdated thinking, and it's outdated thinking crumbling because it's a ruined castle. And, so this is where you're bringing solutions to old problems. Inspiration, new ideas, new solutions, old problems, sweep them away. The thing with the Ace of Wands, though, and this is important, really important to note, there is a time limit with this card. So you must act fast when divine inspiration strikes you. If you look at all these little leaves falling from the Ace of Wands, well, these are a symbol of, say, spring to autumn. And they reflect that your opportunities, they won't last forever. So the magic of your mind is only as good as your ability to act without hesitation. So this card is telling you, this Ace of Wands is telling you to go for it. And I love the synchronicity between these three cards. If you have an idea of what's going on, if maybe you've finished university and you have this idea in your mind that maybe I could do this or maybe I could do that. And whilst you're in that place, you're contemplating, there's no urgency here. But what you're doing is you're opening yourself up to possibilities, because this is a very open card. There's nothing closed about this card, is there? It's a really open card. It's a very balanced card, actually. And these little, the roses and the lilies here, they're very much about, your heart and your soul doing what's right for both. And so ending something here, and decisions, it may even be like you've bought a new property, what to do with it. You get the great ideas, go for it. The resources are there, go for it. Not sure that there's an awful lot more I can say about that without your questions. So I am going to say that this is our reading for this week. And if it resonates with you, do please leave me a comment below. You can also subscribe to this channel to be notified for the next reading. Now, if you would like to know more, you can book a private reading. I would absolutely love to hear from you. You can find my email address in the description of the video. So lovely people, until next week, I'm going to love you and leave you.